Hey guys, Dean here from Wealth. We out for wealth is to trade, invest, and prosper. Now, I want to be very quick and concise in this video today. We're going to be talking about discipline and more specifically, the processes that we're going to take in executing the discipline needed for us to upload a new video every single day. So if you are interested in learning the framework that we're going to follow, and also learning the framework leading to discipline, then stay tuned and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up because it would be widely appreciated. With that being said, guys, let's jump straight into it. Now, the first step to developing the discipline you need in order for you to achieve the desired outcome is by making sure that you structure your environment in such a way that it's conducive to achieve that specific goal. So a quick example of this is with my wife. My wife is a very, very intelligent woman, and she decided to take up reading again. She really enjoyed reading when she was younger, and obviously as you get older, life gets in the way, and before you know it, you just lose all the things that you really, really enjoyed when you were younger, and reading was one of those things. Now, one of the ways that she decided to kind of get back into reading was actually buying a physical book. The reason for this was because if you were to read on your phone, all the notifications that comes up, whether it is on your messaging, whether it is your emails, whether it is your social media, those are all distractions that can subsequently redirect your focus and ultimately cause you to kind of close or open another tab on your phone and just kind of glance at whatever it's on social media. But social media is designed in such a way where it entices you to kind of scroll further and scroll further. Before you know it, you spend so much time scrolling that you haven't even broken the first chapter of your book. And so what she's done is she's actually bought herself a physical book, and she then was very intentional about making sure that the book was placed next to the pedestal of the bed. She was very intentional about making sure that when she was sitting in the lounge, that it was on the armrest of the chair. And basically what she was doing is she was making sure that the book was always in sight, so that when she would sit down, it would be easy to, first of all, just take the book and open it and start reading. But more so that the environment that she was operating in was always clear enough for her to sit and relax. There was always very, very relaxing music that would play in the background. And there was always a night light that was dim enough for her to see the words. It was light enough for her to see the words, but dim enough to kind of set a mood that she wanted, that allowed her to enjoy the book in a sense as well. And so this is a way that you structure your environment to be conducive to the goal that you've set for yourself. And so the first step to developing the discipline you need in order to achieve the outcome that you desire is by making sure that you structure your environment to line up with that goal. Now, the second framework that you need in order for you to develop the necessary disciplines is to have processes and systems in place. Now, this is a very, very important one. I remember when I started the company, I met up with this one guy, and he ran a business consulting company, and he was typically going around and he was assisting people start up businesses. And what he did one day is that we had a meeting. And I remember one day I pitched up to the meeting. He was there, but he was so busy. And he asked me if I could just give him like 15 minutes because he just needs to finish up. And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. I waited for him, and as I was waiting, I just asked him like what it is he's busy with. And he mentioned that he's actually in the process of sending invoices to all of his clients. And I asked him, in a physical manner, are you actually physically typing out the invoices and then you emailing it to each one of your clients? And he says, yeah, he's been busy with this for the last 3 days. And I sat back and I couldn't understand that someone that is a business consultant would be operating their business in such an inefficient manner. And I couldn't keep myself from just suggesting, you may want to look at this one program I was using at the time that will literally automate that entire process. And that's one of the things I wanted to highlight, is the importance of processes and systems. You see, the reason that we're introducing processes and systems into this framework is because processes and systems in and of itself allows automation. And when something is automated, it literally does the work for you without you having to go back and having to check the work, because you've already done the settings for that particular automation. And in this instance, I suggested that, and I don't know if he took my advice, but I know that within my own company, there's been automations that has been implemented, and it has saved me not only so much time, but a ton of headaches and a ton of money in the process. And so this is something that I believe that is very, very important, especially when you're trying to develop the discipline. You see, when you're developing discipline, you do not want to make your life harder. In fact, you want to make it so easy for you to execute the task and the action without having such a lot of resistance in the process, because all that resistance is going to make it very difficult for you to be consistent, and it's going to be very difficult to sustain that momentum. So with that being said, guys, that's step number 2, which is to ensure that you have processes and systems in place. The third part of this process. The third part of this process is developing habits. This is by far, in my opinion, the most important of all the frameworks. The reason for this is because habits within and of itself ensures that you do not exert any additional energy to exercise a particular action. And so when you know where you're going and you know what tasks you need to do, you know what goal you've set for yourself, and you've kind of plotted a pathway in order for you to achieve that, then you develop the habits that's going to make it very easy for you to kind of knock down these milestones and overcome these challenges. And ultimately, by simply developing these habits, it's going to make it so much easier for you to achieve your goal. And so there is a framework that we're going to be going through in terms of developing habits. But the one thing I wanted to focus on in this video is just kind of introducing the concept of habits in relation to developing discipline. And so that's step number 3, developing your habits needed to attain the desired outcome. The fourth part of the framework is consistency. This is also quite an important part. Essentially, consistency is kind of the glue that binds all of these things together, because without consistency, you're not necessarily going to see any of these things through. You're not going to develop the habits that's needed in order for you to achieve the goals that you want to set for yourself. You're not going to be able to implement and maintain the systems and processes that you've designed or that you've started to use. You're not going to be able to build the environment that's needed, that's going to be conducive to what you've looked out to achieve. And so consistency is ultimately the action, the consistent action of making sure that you are constantly making an effort to kind of design your environment to be conducive for your desired goals and outcomes. You are consistent in implementing new and improved systems and processes. It's going to make it easier for you to achieve your goals and outcomes. And you are going to be consistent in practicing the actions that's needed in order to develop the habits that's going to ultimately push you forward to achieving your outcomes and goals. And so consistency is the fourth part of this framework. And it's going to be these 4 pieces of framework combined that's going to allow us to upload a new video every single day. It's going to be these processes. It's going to be these setting up our environment. It's going to make sure that we have the right processes and systems in place and the proper habits, and being consistent in all of these 3 things to ultimately ensure that we're able to continue offering value to all of you guys, to continue focusing on rebuilding the brand itself that WealthTip stand for, and actually move the company forward into the direction that we want to move it to, and ultimately get to our outcome and desired goal. So guys, I really do hope that this video was of value. I really do hope that you were able to extract some information that will help you develop the disciplines needed to attain your desired outcomes and goals. But for the most part, I really do hope that you had an awesome Sunday, that you had a brilliant week, and that you have an awesome week ahead. For the most part, I will be chatting to you guys tomorrow. And up until then, you should all keep well, and bye for now.